Hello and welcome back, and today we're going to continue our look at third-party cloud providers and how they compare with network attached storage devices, because so many of us out there are trying to make the choice now between a third-party cloud service much like Dropbox, Google Drive and more, or should we spend more money on a NAS today? Now, there will be separate videos on all of the different brands out there. We'll be looking at Google Drive, Dropbox, Amazon Online Storage, One.com and Elephant Drive. Today we're going to look at Dropbox, and we're going to see what exactly is interesting about Dropbox, and more importantly, how NAS can do exactly the same thing. Because let's face it, I'm going to be pretty biased here. As someone who's a big fan of NAS, there's probably going to be no secrets here that I'm going to prefer NAS. I've got my reasons that I'll talk about at the end of the video, but for now, let's take a look at the user interface, because so many of us are familiar with the Dropbox user interface here on the right hand side. And again, this is logging in. This is a free account with Dropbox. I think it's 2 gig of space, and straight away when you log in, you've got access to your file network here. So once again, I'm accessing this over the internet using dropbox.com, and from here we can go in, we can look at folders and photos and stuff. We can have a look at this picture here that I've uploaded of DS118. For some reason it doesn't want to open. That's not a good sign. And of course we can download this, and finally we've got into it there, so we've seen the picture. Now, we've already hit on one of the earliest snags that I do find with any third-party cloud service as your primary means of off-site backup and off-site synchronization and basically off-site access, and that is you are limited by your internet speeds. Preparing for another video in the background, I'm actually uploading files to a Microsoft One account here, so that's for a later video. But straight away, because I'm uploading those files, our upload is already affected, so this can hamper your interaction with that online storage. Now, a number of you out there use cloud platforms such as Dropbox for a synchronized folder. Now, that's because Dropbox do provide not only access via the internet, but also provide a mobile application that lets you synchronize files with your phone as well as backup, and a desktop application. And if we have a look down here, we can take a look at the Dropbox synchronization tool here, and with this we have a shared folder on our desktop PC, and this folder lets us access our files and also synchronize a big pile of files on your local PC, such as this one, with your third-party cloud. Now again, we're going to leave talking about cost until the end of the video. I know that's a big bugbear of a number of you out there, myself included, but that is pretty much file access level. There is more stuff, obviously sharing files and folders. You have quite a lot of control. You can create a shared folder for those that want to, you know, collaborate if you're at university or college, or maybe a work project that you've all got going together, and each user can have their own individual link, but the amount of storage you have will always be managed by one user in the free account. Next, you can send file requests for other stuff you've seen. If you've found folders and files, or maybe on public forums where there is a Dropbox file, you can actually send a message and add that file. If you've ever scanned around online, and I'm talking about you guys that are always looking for the latest podcasts and TV, chances are if you find a Dropbox, it can let you add that file or folder to your existing Dropbox, but of course you need permission. Finally, Dropbox does feature a recycle bin for those files that you get rid of as and when you go. And that's it really. I mean, with regards to Dropbox, although you may use it for other things and you will use the desktop applications, for the most part, what you'll be doing with the Dropbox is either synchronizing with a folder, such as here is our Dropbox, and you can see that symbol there. That means that this folder is synchronizing with our Dropbox account. So all of those files there are synchronized over the internet with all these files here. So that means if we've got no internet access, we can still access these files that have been synchronized. But again, we are still relying on the internet. And if you want up to the second backups and you put a large file inside here, your upload is going to get shredded. So you're going to have to make sure you've got a good upload. Remember the difference between upload and download, because most internet service providers, ISPs, will say to you, oh, you can get 100 meg broadband, etc., fiber, etc. But take a look at what the average upload is, not the download, and you will find that that number is significantly smaller. Now, moving over to the NAS, we're looking at a Synology here, the DS1618 Plus, and with this device, this is what you access locally. Keyword there, you'll see that here is our local IP, so we're using the network to access this, not the internet. This NAS is in the same building as the PC I'm working on. Luckily, you're not limited to that, because although Dropbox doesn't give you local access and says it'll only give you the internet, Synology NAS will give you internet access, and here we are via a URL that you create, and I've got a whole video on setting this up, and NAS can be set up within 2.5 minutes to be internet accessible, all with login credentials and more. Now I know that looks like the IP because it has detected the IP there, but as you can see in this case, this is my login to my cloud drive, and I can put that URL anywhere in any internet connection in the world, and also I can enable SSL certificates and more. Likewise, Synology have a bunch of desktop applications for backing up individual files, synchronizing files and folders, and backing up. But more so than Dropbox, they have lots of client applications that let you back up and have more tailored file access for photos, video, and more. Their folder structure, as you can see here, if we open it up in File Station, the Synology NAS, and again I'm going to have to move stuff around because I'm split screening here. Here's our layout of folders here on the side. Alternatively, we can head over to Drive, which is much more comparable to that of Dropbox. If we go to Drive there, am I going blind? Let's have a look. We go into Drive, and again, there is a Drive client application for your PC, and from here, we can access all of our files. And again, this is locally, but this can be accessed over the internet, and that's very important. The fact that Dropbox only gives you internet level access, whereas the Synology gives you both the internet and network access. So if you're dealing with big files and lots of users, network speeds are greater than internet speeds on the whole. Another thing to bear in mind is Dropbox, with every account you create, and once again we will talk about prices, they're all there. Dropbox, you sign as an individual user. You can sign up for team and business accounts, but for the most part, most Dropbox subscriptions are for one user only, and you have to pay for each individual user. Whereas on a Synology, not only have you got access, but you can create many users. You can create user groups, so you can create an individual user, and you can create 50, 100, 200, depending on the Synology you get, and in QNAP of course, or create user groups. And in those user groups, you can create team members, departments, the works, and all of that is on that one Synology. There are mobile phone applications. Dropbox has 2 mobile phone apps for backup and synchronization and accessing your files, whereas Synology have about 15, each tailored from accessing general files to Photo Station, that gives you a DS photo, I should say, that lets you access photos, video, DS video, and more, and surveillance applications that let you set up cameras in your own environment to access cameras around your building, your home, your whatever. Once again, using the network or the internet, depending on how you see fit. And that's the big difference, really. The fact that you've got internet only with Dropbox and its structure there, if we go back to the main layout of it, and this tells us what's been added and more. And again, there are applications with Dropbox to let you look at, one might argue, Microsoft Office applications, Word docs, Excel, that sort of thing. But Synology has that too, because Synology have the Office application that lets you open up and access Word docs, spreadsheets, PowerPoint presentations, and more. Again, with Synology, you can add applications all the time. So if we go here, and I'll install the Office application, just like your mobile phone, they have an app center. They've got calendars, chat, so all of your business users can talk, like Skype, in their own means of communication. If we find Office here, because apparently I can't find it, and we install the Office application, this gives us a word editing document, much like Google Sheets, Google Docs, Google Sheets, and more. And all of that is included in the price, which brings us to price, because that's an important point for a number of you. Because I've banged on about cloud versus NAS a lot in the past, and I'm sorry if it becomes repetitious in the videos featuring these. But the price of a cloud server, a third-party cloud that you can only access over the internet, is not a viable model, both for the home and for business. If we look at the Dropbox breakdown here, these are the prices of Dropbox. So you've got individuals and teams. Think of those as business. And again, you've got 1 TB, 2 TB, 3 TB, or unlimited storage. At the bottom, and all of these I should mention, every single one of these features, except for one, which I'll talk about in a bit, are available on your NAS. All of them. There's a Synology or QNAP equivalent to every single one of these. All of them included with your NAS. And with regards to prices, it starts at $7.99 a month, $19.99 a month, $12 and $18. If you bill yearly, the prices will come down, but most users will not go straight into the yearly billing. So when you go for a cloud service, you might only pay, $7.99, $19.99 a month. Or if you go for one of the free services, for a couple of gig, it costs you nothing. But the point still remains that if you're intending to have this network access a year or two down the line, those prices do mount up. And after those years, say you decide, I'm going to ditch Dropbox or leave Dropbox, but you've got a terabyte of data on their cloud, that terabyte of data has to go somewhere. And chances are, you're going to need a NAS eventually anyway, which brings us to costs. Now, this is very basic, but having a look here, these are the standard subscriptions on the left for Dropbox. 2 gig, 1 TB or 1 terabyte, so 1,000 gigabytes, 2 TB, 2,000 gigabytes, 3 TB, 3,000 gigabytes, and unlimited storage. This is how much they cost a month, and this is how much you would spend in 2 years on that storage. And remember, that's per user, not a group, per user. Slight exceptions here with business, but with business, it's still one user, but you have to sign up several users for a business. So as you can see, in 2 years, you'll spend either as little as £191, so that's including VAT, all the way up to $432. Now, on the left here, on the right, I should say, idiot, there's the QNAP models and the Synology models, and all of these units give you what Dropbox does, and in most cases, save you money. So if you go for these services and 2 years down the line, you've paid off, all you've got is that online storage, which may get cancelled, or you can't pay for it anymore, or you decide you're sick of relying on the internet connectivity and I don't want to use a cloud platform anymore, in which case you've spent all of this money and it's gone. Whereas if you bought a NAS now and all of these NASs come with 2 years of warranty, you still get to keep the hardware. You get to keep all of this and have all the tailored internet and network access with the NAS that you need. Now, do take a moment to look at these on the screen. There will be a NAS Compare article covering all of these with links to these products. But nevertheless, these are the things that you should be looking at. And these are quite basic models. If you're prepared to spend another 100, 200 quid, you can get some real monsters. And also notice these two, because these options are 4-bay NASs, and these 4 bays are only half populated, so you can add more drives later. And ultimately, for me, that is the kicker. The fact that there is more future-proofing in NAS than there is in cloud when it comes to Dropbox. When I talk about some of the other platforms later on in other videos, there are exceptions to this rule, and some cloud platforms have done better than others. But Dropbox, I don't think, give you enough for your money. Now, there's one thing Dropbox does give you that NAS doesn't, or at least doesn't give it to you for free. And that is the fact that your files are probably never, ever, 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 ever going to be lost on Dropbox. If you accidentally delete a file, there's an immediate recycle bin, and chances are you can contact them to retrieve those files. Also, they've got so many hybrid backups, so many server farms, that there's very little chance of your files ever being lost if one of those servers goes down. Whereas on a NAS, if your device goes down, you're in trouble. That said, NAS do feature something called RAID, and if you go back to this, the more astute of you may have noticed that there are 2 drives in every one of these scenarios. So this option for 1 TB, I've included 2 1 TB drives, and that's because with this option you have RAID, so all the data is written on 2 drives simultaneously, and therefore you've got a sacred backup in RAID. And moreover, it still costs less than getting the Dropbox option, so do bear that in mind. But that's the main differences. If you do want to learn more or get any queries, do send me a message via info@nascompares.com or visit me at NASCompares. And do remember to visit the guys at span.com, the NAS experts. They know what they're doing. They are the guys for NAS. 20 years experience and more. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.